What's happening, everybody? I thought I would talk to you guys a little bit about a cool book called The Body Keeps the Score. And it's from about 2014. I'm not sure when I read it. I've read it several times because, to be honest with you, sometimes I just don't get everything in the book, what they're trying to get across. And other times, it's not that I don't get it. It's just I'm not ready for it. Like, I need a little bit of life, you know? I need to maybe experience a few things and then come back and read it. Think about reading a book that when you were a kid, it didn't resonate with you, but when you're an adult, you think it's the greatest book you've ever read. And there's a number of books like that. I mean, Shel Silverstein, Where the Sidewalk Ends. Those books like that, where when you're a kid, you kind of read it and you're like, oh, it's cool. But when you're an adult and you read it and you see it through adult eyes and adult experience, you're like, oh man, there's a lot to this. So my wife and I were talking about The Body Keeps the Score. And specifically, we were talking about this seasonal depression type thing that everybody goes through. And not that I don't want to make light of true depression, where people are in a dark space and they can't get out, and they may even become a danger to themselves. I'm not making light of that at all. I have friends that have lost that fight, and I have friends that continue to fight that fight. So it's part of being a first responder, right? When you're in a first responder role or the military, things like that. Losing friends to that battle is kind of part of it, and unfortunately part of it. So not making light of that, but on topic, with the days are shorter, it's darker sooner, the sun comes out but you can't see it, all that kind of stuff. And we were talking about that, and we were going through some of our memories of this time of year, and we were talking about in relation to that book, The Body Keeps the Score, and we were talking about how about all the things that have happened this time of year as well. Maybe it's not just that it's darker, it's a little more moody and all that stuff. It's very goth, What if it's other things? And I started thinking back, November 9th, 2014, is when I almost died. That's when I had a brain aneurysm. I spent several weeks in the hospital recovering, and my life was flipped upside down. I didn't know if I was going to be able to work again in a job that I loved. They were talking about medically retiring me. Man, it was rough, and recovery from that took months to get back on my feet and get moving again. It was not easy. It was a very I wouldn't say traumatic, but a very challenging, overwhelming experience at the time. I got through it, came out of it, had issues with opiates because of all the dope they had me on to deal with the pain. And there was just so much tied up into this time of year. And then October 10th in 2016 is when my dad died from pancreatic cancer. So it was about a 6-week time period between where we found out he had stage 4 pancreatic cancer and when he died. And again, this time of year, right? And December is when we went out to Maryland and we did his memorial service. But in doing that, that was also at the same time they were trying to fire me from my job. And they had made up all kinds of things. The charges were denied. The state's attorney would not prosecute me. There were so many things in my favor. There were so many things going my way. But in the midst of that, once they realized that I couldn't be fired and there wasn't a whole lot they could do about it, they decided to somehow, miraculously, a reporter FOIA'd all the information about my case. Somehow, that reporter knew exactly what to ask for and was given everything. Nothing was redacted, which is interesting if you think about it. Might be a clue there. And so while I'm out here at my dad's memorial, there is a front page newspaper article calling for me to be fired, accusing me of being racist and all these things without ever talking to me. Never interviewed. Never had a conversation with me. They just took one side, what they read in this report, and information they were given through backdoor channels by a deputy chief, and they ran with it. And yeah, like the last paragraph, they included that the state's attorneys would not authorize charges, and therefore it was pretty much baseless. So yeah, when you think about it, if the body keeps score, that's a lot of stored up negative energy around this time of year. So maybe if you're feeling a little low at different times, not just this time of the year, because the seasonal thing is real, but if you're feeling a little low at different times, maybe like sit down and journal, write it out. Think about like what was happening at this time. Like in June, around this time, have I ever gone through something? Like on the job, if you're a first responder, you're seeing stuff all the time, and it's hard to parse out the things that hit a little harder because it's just so much of it, right? You're dealing with the abnormal constantly, and you're expected to have a normal response. But take the time to write out and process through this time. Look back over time. If you can, look back over a call log, or maybe do a search. I'm not sure what the report writing, recording systems are now in first responder world, but maybe go back and just, was I on something significant? Was I on a significant call? Was I involved in a significant incident? Maybe didn't seem significant at the time, but over time it started to pile up on me. And let me check this out, and let me work my way through it. Let me process through this, and maybe do some hard work, some internal work, and figure out my responses to this thing, and did I ever really deal with it? And deal with it now, man, before it becomes something greater, and maybe it's beyond what you can deal with on your own, and you're going to need some help. So yeah, interesting, right? When we think about it, like seasonal depression, I'm not a big fan of it. Yes, I know there are studies, but given our background in this world, I don't like to attach that label to every little day that I'm feeling down. I just don't want to take it lightly. I feel like it's like when you call everybody a racist or a bigot or a misogynist. When you call parking people parking Nazis, right? Like it takes value away from the actual word and significance away from the actual issue. So yeah, this time of year, you can have some low days, but maybe it's because it's attached to something and it's worth checking out. The rest of the year, when it's sunny and nice out, or if you live in an area, you lucky bastards, live in an area where it's nice, but you have these feelings, maybe take a minute and check it out and look and see, is there something that happened on this day? Is there something that happened around this time period that I never processed through, I never worked through? Get your book out, get your journal out, process through those feelings, write. If you have somebody you trust, talk to them and work your way through it. There might be a very real cause for why you're just not having a good day. All right, guys, I appreciate you. Everybody that's on the job, man, I have massive love for you. If you ever need anything, reach out to me. I'm here for you. I got you. I've been in your shoes, and it's a tough job. It's a thankless job, but also remember, now that I'm on this side of it, there are a lot of people that love you, that appreciate you, that pray for you, that would do anything to help you if they could, if they needed to. Always keep that in mind. I always think about that story we hear about Mr. Rogers. His mom told him, when bad things happen, look for the helpers. Look for the people that are making a difference. And as a first responder, sometimes it's easy to get caught up in everybody hates us, everybody's against you, everybody's second guessing you. But just remember, that's not always true. There are a lot of people that support you, that love you, that pray for you, that would do anything they could to help you, whatever they could to help you. So never forget that, guys. I'll see you on the next one.